Good day and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before I begin this video, I'd like to ask you all to subscribe, leave a like or comment down below, and if you dislike the video, please leave a dislike. Now, on that note, going forward from today onwards, I'm actually going to be taking your suggestions for things that you want me to cover in the videos. Now, I'm not going to be taking the suggestions over uh, Discord or line. So I'm only going to be taking the suggestions over the comments on YouTube now. So if you leave a comment with what you want to see, I'll definitely get to it. Now, today's video isn't going to be a broad perspective video on getting something perfect. It's going to be on how to deal with the problems that you're running into in your combat. Now, I don't know how many of you all have run into this problem, but when you're fighting against the encounters, recently there have been a lot of glitches in the game. Some people have found the enemies skating across the screen. Some people have found enemies doing other weird acts in the game. So here's going to be just a few tips for you on how to avoid ending up in that situation. Now, if you see that enemies are skating across your screen, the best thing to do is for you to go to the nearest station, dock, log out, log back in, and see if it happens again. If you do experience the problem with the skating the second time, then that encounter is totally glitched out. You should either contact support and see what they can help you with in terms of getting the mission back and starting it without the glitch, or you can go the other route of abandoning it and waiting till it reappears in your menu for missions. Now, obviously, if it's in a story mission, it's a different story. You're going to have to find a way around it because you can't just skip out any part of a story mission because those things are big and it takes 3 missions just to get it. So you'll complain to support. By the time they get back to you, it might be half a day or 2 days later. And at that point, you can still take on the mission without having lost too much in it. So I know it doesn't sound like the best idea for a lot of people losing out on a mission because of a glitch, but it's for your benefit because one of my teammates last night got hit with a glitch where his ship was disrupted, and even when he engaged his warp stabilizer, it didn't go away. And he was running a Navy issue vessel, so quite expensive to repair. And he complained about it to support, and they said they can only replace his vessel. They can't do anything about the gear that he lost. Now, I understand they can't do anything about the gear that he lost, but considering that it's a glitch in the game and that things aren't working according to the mechanics, they most probably are working on a patch to ensure that these things aren't happening so often. They was probably going to pull off the warp disruptors from working the way they were working previously against autopilot and things like that there. They might have to go back a version, revisit it, and find a solution from there. So I've just given you the basics on what you need to know about running into these problems. The second thing that you need to know on these problems is the skating enemies. I don't know if any of you have encountered it. I have encountered it personally in the T7 Elites. The Elite tank ship will literally skate across all of the enemies in the time it takes for me to lock onto a target. Even if they are 80 k's away, they literally skate across and come right into my target view with less than a few kilometers between me and the Elite. And at that point, when I'm trying to evade the Elite, I'm getting normal speed on it. But the moment I get distance on it beyond the 20, it skates back into that 5. So you have to warp away and you can't fight it properly. So that's another glitch that I've been finding. My solution to it is I've just been avoiding all Elite encounters till the next maintenance and patch comes out. So I know that isn't the best thing to say because a lot of you farm the higher end story missions and you need to complete the elites in order to open them, and you'd most probably be doing something like 2 or 3 a week of those big missions. Now, a lot of others have been telling me that I should give them a build for a Naval Class character that was just in Discord chat and things like that there. I am going to be going through all the ships on builds. So I'm actually not going to buy each and every ship. Obviously, it will cost way too much ISK, and getting all the elite gear will take quite some time. So I'm going to go through what I believe to be the 4 basic naval class vessels. Sorry. And I am going to work out what can be put on it and what works with the stats that it has. And I'll explain why you should use a certain build over using the more, what would seem advantageous build to you in comparison. Where it should be used, when you should discard my type of builds. I even discussed that. Like in the last one with the elite Omega ship, I can't pronounce its name to save my life. I discussed what would be the best build for it. A tank build with 2 types of energy drain devices and a Weber fire on it. No, wait, no, that wasn't it. I don't remember it off by heart. I actually decide each vessel by the stats that I see on it. Now, you may be wondering why I keep setting orbit every time. That's because there's a glitch I've been running into. When I click set orbit on my ship and I set it to 35, it's 35. But when I'm fighting an enemy and I just click orbit, sometimes the orbit doesn't change. Now I know the orbit changes to 27 when my missiles activate, but I've also noticed it against elites that the moment I try to set orbit, my orbit drops to 9Ks against elites. It's not something that should be happening. It's not something that I'm in any way used to at the moment, but it's just something that's been happening in the game. So I keep setting the orbit manually so that I know when I'm running into problems. Okay, the next thing is about collecting your loot. Now, a lot of guilds have been gathering up the loot and throwing it into the ship hangar and exchanging it. But with that, there came the problem of certain people not being allowed to access the loot which was inside the corp hangars. And I think it's more or less because the corps have been having problems with guys sneaking into the corps and literally stealing the gear. So the best thing for you to do is not to actually do that. When you're in your fleet, think of setting aside 2 people to go and collect all of the loot, and you're going to use contracts to send it over to 2 different people from yourself. Obviously, if your team is made up of 20 people, you're going to distribute half of the stuff which isn't going to stay with you to one guy and half of it to the next guy. And from there, you know what each guy is running. Like, if one guy is running laser cannons, the other guy is running rail guns. The guy with the rail guns will send him the rail guns and the extras, and the guy with the cannons will send him the cannons and extras on that side, breaking the loot in half by half and trying to sort out your issues from there. Okay, now sorry about that. I've just decided to focus on this here. Why isn't it setting? And it will set again to 27. Okay. I need to unlock this. Sorry about that. As you can see, in combat, I change where I'm targeting all the time. Simple reason to it is I don't want to get cornered into an unfavorable position and lose for no reason. Just doesn't want to set orbit. Okay. So going over these little in-game glitches and problems, you're going to notice that there are others that I haven't discussed. That's going to be the miscalculation on range for enemies. Like, even though this enemy says 26Ks or 60Ks, it isn't actually the correct distance for some reason or the other, and you can end up getting hit by a laser beam which doesn't have this type of range. I know it happened to me a few times in a Mars space. I got hit at 80Ks away from the nearest enemy. Well, I literally had to travel 80 Ks. I think there was a glitch in the game where they had 20 Ks on me and I had 30 plus Ks to gain on them, making it almost impossible for me to catch them and fight properly. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using the auto lock in this. That's because I'm using a massive range in my combat and I'm not using my debuffs. That's because I'm getting a bit used to this fight tactic, and it may not be the best, but it works for me. It's a good way to keep the combat clear of my vessel. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. Short video on in-game glitches and what to do about them. Thank you for watching.